it's very interesting. What we're going to talk about today is a story about what is old is new again. Webinars are not exactly the newest, freshest technology out there. As marketers, we've got a lot of cool new toys to play with, and yet here you all are. So why? You don't have to, you know this if you've attended any conference in the last few years. We're in the age of the modern buyer, the self-educated buyer. Our audience now is out there taking in content on their time, in their way, however they see fit, on the devices that they see fit, and we have to sort of adjust to that reality. And because of this, we all know this picture. There's this explosion of MarTech, and there's all these different toys that we have to play with now, and we are hoping that somehow the scale that all of these technologies allow us is going to make us better. We can reach more people than ever before. But have we lost something along the way? What is engagement? Engagement is a funny thing. Right now, engagement is the buzzword. If you go to the Marketo conference, their theme is engagement. They're an email company. What is that? That's not engagement. Everybody out there on the floor has got engagement somewhere on their booth. But how are we measuring engagement today? All digital signals are not created equal. The 140-character tweet is not the same thing as measuring clicks or measuring the 7 seconds on your website. There is a difference. Engagement can be measured in a lot of different ways. Let me give you an older school example. So we're content marketers, so I thought I'd give a real old school example. You have a target prospect. It's that guy. He's exactly who you want to do business with. And you write the perfect white paper. This white paper is awesome. You know it's going to appeal to that guy. And then you craft an email, which is amazing. It's worded so perfectly. This subject line is fantastic. And then you send it out through your marketing automation to like 8 million of those guys, and it works. And he downloads it. What do you know about this person? Well, you have the form fill, right? You've got the demographic information. Did he read it? Did he have thoughts? Did he have questions? Does he agree? Does he disagree? You have no idea. You don't know if he read one page. You don't know if he read, the whole thing, unless it was the digital version. But people don't like to do that. They just want to download it. That's not engagement. That's a marketing touch. But how good of a marketing touch is it? There's a huge difference between a name and a really qualified prospect. How do we fill in the suit? We fill in the suit with engagement. You don't fill in the suit by having somebody read your tweet. You don't fill in the suit by having somebody, get on a landing page for 7 seconds or see 30 seconds of your minute-and-a-half video. They're all good touches. I'm not saying that those are bad things, but that's not real engagement. That is not real engagement. We have been living as marketers for so long, and especially as content marketers, in this world of individual content experiences. And that's why our buying cycles are long, because we hope that they're going to hit the website at some point, maybe through SEO, and then at some point they're going to, react to an email, download a white paper, maybe see a case study. It takes a long time. And each of those touches, how much does that do for us? What we need to get to, and where I think the future of marketing is going, is these sort of multi-touch content experiences. This is what we should be aspiring to. I want to be cool like the guy yesterday who, skateboards around the world on somebody else's budget. But to be aspirational marketers, I think what we should be thinking technically is, how do we create these amazing experiences for our audiences? And I ask you this at the beginning, and I'll ask you this at the end. How many touches does it take you to get from lead to revenue? And how significant are those touches? Think about that as we go through this. Okay, that takes us to webinars. You're probably thinking, is he going to talk about webinars? I'm going to talk about webinars. Webinars are really the ultimate engagement tool. We've had them for a long time. They're not sexy, but what's really interesting is that they are sort of becoming the thing again, which is good because I work for a webinar company. But, so a couple of years ago, Microsoft did this giant analysis. And they said, we've been doing marketing the same way for a long time. What's working, what's not working? And what do you think they come up with? Webinars were one of the highest performing tactic that they had. They were closing over 7% of everybody that attended turned into a customer. It was incredible. And so what do? They just quadrupled the amount of webinars that they do. It used to be that we only thought of webinars as a lead generating tool. That's what most of you are doing. You're using webinars to generate leads. They're top of funnel. They're thought leadership. And that's good. This is a Forrester report. They show that webinars are the #1 tactic for that. But look now, webinars are second only to your website for driving awareness. They're second only to sales engagement as you move them through the funnel and retain customers. So this is important. It is important. I know ABM is cool. I know personalization is cool, and I know all that other stuff is fun. But what other technology do you have where you are in front of a captive audience for up to an hour? This is from a recent benchmarks report. And you can just see the trending data for an average 1-hour webinar. People are staying for almost the entire thing. You have an hour in front of a prospect. This is not a tweet. This is not a little shred of a video or a minute on a landing page. This is real engagement. What can you do in that hour? Okay. So how many of you here give webinars? Or your companies give webinars? Almost all of you. Okay. How many of you feel that your webinars are absolutely amazing? You give the most awesome, incredible, awesome webinars. I got a half a hand. Half a hand. She thinks maybe they're awesome, but she's not sure. But I bet they are. All right. We surveyed over 1,000 marketers to ask them this question. Only 7% thought they gave awesome webinars, and I guarantee you at least half of them were lying. I've seen their webinars. They're not that good. So this is a problem. If this is such an amazing opportunity for us to be in front of an audience for 1 hour, what are we doing right now? We're giving our grandfathers webinars. We're still doing them the same way over and over and over again. That's terrible. So this is what we're going to do. In the next short period of time, I'm going to give you all kinds of very quick tips on how to build a webinar that will really become an engagement-driven content experience. So I am actually doing 2 presentations. This is Webinars That Rock. I'm going to tell you how to architect the webinar itself. And then later today at 4, I'm going to talk about building content across the buying cycle. Lots of examples. You could come to both. But this is my favorite one. All right. So keys to engagement-driven webinars. I'm going to ask you hypothetical questions. I just want you to think about your webinars as we're going through this. The first question is, do your webinars feel like your brand? When somebody attends your webinar, are they immersed in your brand? What is that? Okay, I picked a really bad example. I know, I went to the internet. This is awful. This is not what webinars look like today. But I know what most of our webinars look like. You've got a color in the background, and you've got your windows, and maybe the logo's in the top corner. And you're like, yeah, that's good, right? Looks pretty. It's not good enough. That is a webinar. This is Avon. Look at this. It's an explosion of color, and things are happening. You've got top-line messaging. There's their new slogan. You've got their logo. You've got product pictures. You've got graphic elements. You are asking people to stare at a fixed location for up to 1 hour. Take advantage of it. The webinar is a great palette to paint on. That is awesome. This is Drawbridge. Look at that. How cool is this? They've got all kinds of little drawings and things going on there. They've got their top-line messaging. Twitter on Christmas. Why don't your webinars look like this? They should. This is cool. This is Fitbit. They're trying to communicate that they're an active brand. They literally put a little running trail through the webinar console. That's fun. That's fun. You can communicate who you are as a brand by having somebody stare at a fixed location for an hour with a set of images and colors that are connecting them to who you are as a brand, to your logo, obviously, but to your top-line messaging. This is an older example that I love. This is a company called Good Technology. And if nothing else, after an hour, you're going to walk away going, Good Technology, OS Mobile Enterprise Security. I know who they are. I know what they do. You're going to know their corporate colors are red and white. They completely turned everything red and white in the console. Let's strip away the stuff. This is what the console looked like before they put the windows on. Now, here's what's important about this. At the time they ran this webinar, if you went to their website, you saw this image. You saw this graphic element. If you interacted with any of their campaigns, Here's an example. It had nothing to do with the webinar. You saw that imagery. They're connecting. They're having connective tissue from the webinar console to their website, to their active campaigns. It's branding at its best. If all of your campaigns, if all of your content have that connective tissue, you're helping people have this idea in their mind of who you are and what you are. And they're watching the webinar, so they're going to really drive that home. Okay, that's the low-hanging fruit, the console. That's the easy part. But we could work on that. We can work on that. Here's where the rubber meets the road, and that is interactivity. So are your webinars truly interactive? And I know a lot of you are going, oh, well, Mark, I do Q&A at the end. That's good, right? It's good. It's good, but it's not enough. It's not enough. What you should be thinking of your webinars as not as presentations, but as conversations that you're having with a group of people. The more you can have an interactive discussion with 500 people, the better off you are going to be. And it is absolutely possible. There's a myriad of tools. I'm not going to go through them all. You know, there's Q&A, and there's polling, and there's chat and social, and I'll talk about that in a moment. There's idea storming and group collaboration tools. When I'm giving a webinar, I will do Q&A at the end, but oftentimes I'll take Q&A just throughout. I'll just stop every now and then and take questions. Sometimes I do trivia things. Last month I asked everybody to come up with a name of, if Game of Thrones was a webinar about webinars, what would the name be? And whoever got the best name into me through the Q&A, I gave a t-shirt to. The winner was The Night is Dark and Full of Webinars. But it was fun. People were engaged. They were interested. And it connected them to the content. Because that's what interactivity does. If you're pushing out 3 or 4 polls during your presentation, not as self-serving intelligence lead gathering information, but as a way to continue the conversation. People want to know what their peers are thinking. They don't fill out a poll just because it's fun. They fill out a poll because they're really interested to see what other people are doing. They love that. They want to be able to ask questions. They want to have chat. They want to have these experiences. It won't, I know everybody's worried that it's going to distract from the content. It will not. It will link them to the content. It will link them to the content. Here's an example. Wells Fargo, no slides. No slides. Everybody's like, oh, we want to do more webinars. This is what I'm talking about at 4 o'clock. You want to do more? No slides. All they did is have a conversation. So they had a couple of people with a preordained topic that they advertised, and then they took polls throughout the experience and then responded to the audience poll result, and then they just took questions throughout. And that was it. Slideless webinars. You want to do more webinars and you're not sure what content? Here's a great idea. Pick topics that you know matter to your prospects and just have conversations with them. They will love that. These are the formats that they like. This is ITG, for those of you in the financial services arena. These guys do a webinar series, and I love it because it's pretty geeky. They're talking about what's going on in the financial services world. They give a little update. They talk about what's going on in the market, and then what do? They start pushing out polls to try to get audience feedback and to try to start feeling out where the audience is, and then they just have a whole section called Chat Us Up, and they talk. They just talk. Where else do we get to just talk? Right? We're here at Content Marketing World learning about how to create great content. But ultimately what we need to be able to do is to interact with people. And this is the best chance that we have. Multimedia content experiences. Our webinars also tend to be a little bit boring in the sense that they're audio and some slides. That's not bad. I do a lot of those. I probably do more of those than I do video ones, mostly because I'm forced to. But there's a lot of ways you can integrate video into the webinar experience. What about just dropping a video clip? Maybe you're doing audio webinars, you don't have a speaker, that's really good on camera, you don't have a studio, you're not sure what you want to do there. But what about just you've invested in video clips. Maybe you've got a 30-second clip or a 1 minute or 2 minute clip that talks about a solution area or that talks about a topic that's important. Why not drop that into the middle of a discussion or between presenters? You can do that. It makes it more interesting. It makes it more fun. It's a multimedia experience. Webcam. They're back. 5-10 years ago, nobody wanted to present on a webcam. I hated it. It was weird. It was uncomfortable. Now everything has changed. Does anybody know why? No? Skype, FaceTime. We're staring into the things all the time. We're talking into our computers. We're talking into our phones. It's not weird anymore. My mom wants to do the FaceTime with me. I don't like that. That's really weird. But it's a lot more comfortable for many people who maybe are not great presenters. Speaking into the computer is not so bad anymore. This is Rosetta Stone, and this guy, I know this guy. We poached him. He works for us now. He actually, we didn't really poach him. All he did was set up in a conference room and just had a great conversation with Rosetta Stone members. And it was a really great experience. Studio video, yeah, you can do this. It's becoming more affordable all the time. There are a lot of studios that will literally do everything from start to finish for you, including the set, including the backgrounds. It's not that expensive. You can do it if you want. This is Bacardi. Or what about for bottom of the funnel webinars, which I'll talk about at 4 o'clock, maybe just doing screen share and demoing and showing people what something looks like. You can show and not tell. There's a lot of different ways that you can make this happen. And then finally, this is where I think everything is really going to be changing in the future. Increasingly, webinars are becoming more like TV viewing experiences and less like presentations. We're seeing this. So this is Athena Health. And I know this looks really fancy. This is a guy who just sets up a single video camera in a conference room. And then he usually has a guest, and he just talks. And they have a conversation, and then they take some questions. It's a completely interactive and fun and relaxing and engaging and approachable format. It's an approachable format. We like people talking. By nature, as human beings, we like being talked to at less, which maybe means you're not enjoying this experience, I'm not sure. But we do like when people have a conversation and when people are being friendly together. And that's what we're seeing more of. This is eBay, where they have community managers having a coffee talk. This is Atlassian, where they've got some people at an event, and they're just having a conversation. This is the way in which people, I think, will be taking in content in the future, in a conversational tone, in an approachable tone, in a way that invites discussion not only between the presenters, but discussion with the audience as well. You don't have to have content necessarily to be able to do this. You just need topics and good speakers and interesting people and interesting discussions. That's what makes great content.